So, up next in the order of games to play is Pac Pal. This is an interesting one only because it never actually did officially come out here in the West. Let's talk about it a little more. So the follow-up to Super Pac-Man in 1983 was a game called Pac Pal. Now around this time there was still plenty happening here in the West, but at the same time this is when Midway would actually abuse their power with Pac-Man, because in response to Miss Pac-Man, they thought they could still do the same thing and have it work. And it really didn't go that way. Eventually we'd see games that were pretty poor in quality, all things considered. Pac-Man Plus, which was made to be a harder version of the original Pac-Man, was just unfair and gobbled up quarters. Junior Pac-Man, which is made to be a bigger version of the original Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man in form of its different mazes, was too big for its own good. And the fact that the fruits were replaced with vehicles that would actually destroy the power pellets and make slower pellets, we'll be seeing that later, just didn't feel fun at all. And on top of that, they really doubled down with the monster idea because Junior falls in love with a monster named Yum Yum. Yeah, I can't make this up. I think the worst of the bunch though has to be Professor Pac-Man, where they thought it was a good idea to make a quiz game that may or may not produce seizures based on the flashing lights, just because that was what was popular at the time. So here in the West, we really weren't getting any good games. And with 1983, this would be just before the collapse of the video game market due to some pretty poor quality game control, all things considered. That said, with Pac Pal, we never did officially get this in the West. There were plans though, and it would have been another version of the game known as Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp, but it never happened. But that game did actually happen though, a reskin, but only in Europe, and it was extremely limited. So this is a game we never got until future compilations in the Pac-Man series. Was it worth the wait? Let's take a look. Oh, okay, actually looks like we need to play an area game 2 times. So in the order of videos, just to keep it consistent with the years that these games did come out, we're gonna revisit Pac Pal, but for you guys, I'll pick it right up after I play the next game. So that said, it looks like I'm gonna have to do Pac-Land first. Alright, so we played Pac-Land, so let's get back to where we were originally, and that was Pac Pal. Let's play. So, with Pac Pal, this one is just as different as Super Pac-Man. The biggest gimmick, though, is that we actually have a companion, and that is in the form of Mill, who also goes by the name of Miru in different versions of the game, all things considered. I remember the character being known as Miru, but it looks like Mill or Milla has become the more common name, at least in later releases. There's actually 2 other big gimmicks though with Pac Pal. The biggest is what we'll see when we start the game in just a moment, but the other one, you probably already noticed it right now because of the cameo from the Galaxian series. And that's that Pac-Man actually has some super abilities that work a little better compared to what we saw in Super Pac-Man. And we actually have quite a bit of a variety, because it's not just Galaxian, we actually have some other cameos from different Namco games up to this point in time. But that said, Mill will be a bit of a threat, even though she can't directly harm us. But let's just play the game and talk a little more about it then. So, insert the coin, and I say, listen up. You probably see with Pac-Man up above that he's jamming out to some music. Don't think it's just some normal artwork to promote the game. One of the biggest advertising parts of Pac Pal was that this is the first Pac-Man game that actually featured some background music as you're playing through it. Which, I mean, there's been plenty of games before Pac-Man that made it a big deal, so why was Pac-Man advertising it? You tell me. Publicity, I suppose? Well, it's actually a really fun theme, all things considered. They would actually have an arrangement of this theme for Pac-Man Versus on the DS, which is pretty cool. Alright, so we got the perfect. So, similar to Super Pac-Man, the fruits are blocked off with what would have been keys are actually now cards. So we need to flip each card in order to get to the fruits. Now, each card does have the fruit associated with it. So you flip a card with an orange, that means you have to find the gate with the orange. We're not the only ones going after the fruit, though, because Mill is on our side, but she's kind of doing it for her own reasons, too. Mill can't help you with the fruits. However, if you don't grab the fruit, you won't get the points for it. So if you want to go for the highest score, you need to get the fruit. So sometimes she can either be a benefit or a hindrance, depending on the game. That said, though, let's keep going. I want that key for myself. And so what you'll have is the power-ups to try to help you avoid the ghosts, of course, in classic Pac-Man gameplay. Of course, they have their common AI, so make sure you know their gimmicks. But I feel like this is a better version of Pac-Man compared to Super Pac-Man, just because it flows better with what was established before. I don't like the idea of the gates still, especially associated with cards. It's still more of an annoyance than something. But instead of coffee breaks, we get this little bonus game where we flip cards, and we want to go for good stuff. So we got money, money, money. I think it's going to be money too. Yep, that's money. Let's go for the left one here. And there's Blinky. Alright. But that was the bonus round. So that said, let's continue and go on to the next stage. So because I'm playing this out of order, I don't really have the best flow here. I can't really explain what I was talking about before in the context of what you'll be hearing in the next part. But I did mention earlier that this game was going to be attempted to come out here in the West under the form of Pac-Man and Chomp Chomp. Chomp Chomp was an original character from a Pac-Man cartoon series I'll be talking about in the next part. Chomp Chomp would become another mainstay of the Pac family, along with others such as Miss Pac-Man and even Baby Pac-Man, as we saw in cutscenes from the Miss Pac-Man game. Essentially, Midway would try to make more games aligned, and here we got Rally X, we got the Smoke Clouds, based on what we saw with different characters. Essentially, it was Midway that made the Pac family as we know them today. But it would be doubled down through other media, such as where Chomp Chomp originates from. Now, could this game have been successful had it come out when it did? Well, remember, 1983 was when the video game crash would happen. Even if it did come out, I don't think it would have been as successful as some of the other games in the series. And that's part of the reason was actually because of Pac-Man's home port for the Atari 2600. Simply put, there were many games being flooded in the markets, but weren't living up to the proper control. Either they were rushed, they weren't fun to play, or were a far cry for just how many there were in the markets. People stopped playing video games for a while, and that included the arcade. So, if Pac Pal did come out back when, I don't think it would have had the same success along the lines of other Namco offerings. And part of that too was that Western intent. Super Pac-Man did come out here in the West, but it was far from well received compared to Miss Pac-Man, or even some of the other attempted spin-offs such as Pac-Man Junior Pac-Man. Even that one was super rare in comparison. I feel like it was just a matter of timing and just a change of preference. But it was clear that something did need to change in the market. Alright, so we got some more Rally X. I want to try to get through one more round to show off another type of character ability that Pac-Man could use. It was actually really cool that this uses different character sprites from different games. Galaxian, Rally X, we'll be seeing another one in a moment here if I get far enough. But I like that. I feel like it's a cool addition. But Mill's about to take the Rally X car. Dang it. But no, with the music and just the flow, this is a much more laid-back version of Pac-Man. This is when I feel like it's easier to take slower, but still has a bit of that difficulty to it. And I do love the music that it has to offer. Was that really a big advertising point to the game? I don't know. But it's crazy to think that for all the Pac-Mans that came out before it, even the ones by Midway, this is the one that first featured music. I feel like it was something that should have happened already, but didn't until it finally did. But the more you know. Alright, let's get this lemon, and I believe we should have a bonus stage next. Yep. Alright. I want to go top right. Good, good. Money, money. Let's go up. Good. I'm gonna go for the middle one here. Mill! Okay, so mill means double points. Let's go this one. Money. I'm thinking up top. Good. I'm gonna skip this card and go down low. Money, money. Okay, okay. Let's go the middle. Ah! Alright, that was actually a really good bonus round. We got mills, that meant a lot of points. Alright, the next ability is a trumpet. Not a reference to another game, but hey, we got a music blast, and that's pretty cool. And I love, like, it makes, like, the ghosts so derpy. Like, you can tell they are absolutely stunned by it. But alright. Game over. We got the high score, though, so we'll put it in. And this time's only 3 letters, so perfect. B, N, and letter M. Top of the list, baby. So I'll take it for what it's worth. If I'm recalling this right, I could be wrong, but I believe there's at least 3 special abilities based on other Namco properties. I know the first 2, but I actually forget the third, and I didn't have it in my notes at the time of this recording, so I do apologize. With that said, let's check out the missions. 5, 10, 20, 30. Looks like 50,000 would have been the one to go for. And they want us to get all the way to round 15. Wow. Okay, wow, we're going to be here a while. A lot of ghosts, too. So, alright. Cool. So, that was Pac Pal. It's a good one. I enjoy it for what it is. It's something different. It's a different way of playing Pac-Man, if you want to change pace compared to the other one. So, we got Pac Pal. The main music, Pac Pal. A happy table, Pac Pal. A cheap trash can, Pac Pal. And a flag, Pac Pal. Cute balloons. And a free game cabinet, Neon A. Ooh, I like the Neon A. You know what? I think we're going to swap our wallpaper. Ooh, out of context though, it's going to look super weird. You know what? We better leave it alone for now. Alright, so in the order of flows, up next then would be Pac-Land. So we're going to switch to that one in the next part with this sloppy transition between episodes.